Buongiorno, and benvenuti to Italian Lessons with Gina. This is the fifth in a series of brief lessons aimed at teaching Italian to English speakers. Our topic for this installment is Meet and Greet, Part 2. In all lessons, whenever it is necessary to mention a letter of the alphabet, the English name for that letter will be used, and whenever an Italian word is stressed on a syllable other than the next to the last, the stressed syllable will be underlined. The basic titles in Italian are Signore. This means Sir or Mr. Drop the final E when using it in front of a last name. For example, Signor Conti. Signora. This means Mrs. or Madam or Ma'am. It is also used to mean lady or woman. Signorina. This means Miss or young lady. Other titles, such as professore, dottore, or ingegnere, are used quite often in Italy in place of names. Like signore, they too will drop the final E in front of a last name. Professor Guarini. When written, these titles are not capitalized, but their respective abbreviations are capitalized. Many common first names in English have Italian equivalents. Here are a few examples. John is Giovanni. George is Giorgio. William is Guglielmo. Stephen is Stefano. Joseph is Giuseppe. Patricia is Patrizia. Catherine is Caterina. Elizabeth is Elisabetta. Francis is Francesca. Julia is Julia. When introducing one person to another, you will use the verb presentare, which means to present or to introduce. In an informal situation, if I want to introduce my friends Alberta and Enrico to each other, I would say, Alberta, ti presento Enrico. Enrico, ti presento Alberta. If the situation is formal, for example, I wish to introduce my son's math teacher, Signora Conti, to my elderly neighbor, Signor Rossi, I would say, Signora Conti, le presento Signor Rossi. Signor Rossi, le presento Signora Conti. In the first example, the introduction is informal because of the use of the indirect object pronoun ti, which means to you, and is directed to someone with whom you have an informal relationship. The second introduction is shown to be formal because of the use of the indirect object pronoun le, which means to you, and is directed to someone with whom you have a formal relationship. People who have just been introduced to each other would then turn to each other and say, piacere, or molto lieto, or lieta, depending on the gender of the speaker. This means very happy to meet you. And then they would shake hands, which in Italy consists of just one or two up and down shakes. When greeting each other or saying goodbye, Friends and family members will hug and perhaps bestow a light kiss on both cheeks. Hand waving is done with the palm of the hand facing toward the waver or perpendicular to her, and then a quick bending of the four fingers up and down from the knuckles toward the palm, as if you are trying to grasp a slippery object. When negating statements in Italian, the word non is used, and it is usually inserted in front of the conjugated verb. Some examples. We are well is stiamo bene. We are not well is non stiamo bene. We are from the United States is siamo degli Stati Uniti. We are not from the United States is non siamo degli Stati Uniti. When a reflexive or object pronoun is present, as is the case with the statement mi chiamo Gina, my name is Gina, the me is a reflexive pronoun, then if we want to negate the sentence, the non must be placed in front of the pronoun. My name is not Gina would be non mi chiamo Gina. Remember that even when they are not stated, the respective subject pronouns are implicit. The subject of the sentence mi chiamo Gina is io. The subject of stiamo bene is noi. The subject of di dove siete is voi. Asking questions. Fare le domande. In Italian, in the great majority of cases, questions that do not include one of the interrogative words are structured identically to declarative sentences. In English, in order to turn a declarative statement into a question, there can sometimes be a reversal of position of the subject and the verb. You guys are Italian becomes are you guys Italian? Or an inclusion or modification of the verbs. Michael goes to school every day becomes does Michael go to school every day? None of this occurs in Italian. In Italian, the only difference between a declarative sentence and a question is in the intonation at the end of the sentence. Siete italiani is the statement. Siete italiani is the question. Michele va a scuola ogni giorno is the statement. Michele va a scuola ogni giorno is the question. That's all for now. Alla prossima. Ciao e studiate bene.